with Pastor Lindsey Williams. For those that just joined us, his top globalist source that he's known for 30-plus years is dying of cancer and just basically spilt his guts to him in the last 2 weeks. We were getting into mortgages. Let's break down what he told you concerning all the mortgage fraud and the big mortgage scandals that are going on right now. Go ahead, Lindsey Williams.
It's by the providence of God that I know what I know. Let me stress to every person out there in the listening audience, I was invited to be the chaplain on the Trans-Alaska Oil Pipeline and got to know these people back 35 years ago. They're now old. Most of them are retired. And they have been willing to tell me these things. I pass on to you only what I feel by the providence of God I've been given so that you can be properly warned and know the issues. You won't get information like this from the national media. You won't hear it any other place. I don't know of any other person on the face of the earth that one of these elitists talks to as he has been willing to talk to me over the past 2 years' time. One of the issues that has been so prominent lately is a mortgage crisis. And let me tell you what they, the elitists, have planned. They planned it way back in the 80s. They knew exactly what they were doing. This is not happening by chance. Every bit of this is by design. It is MBS. You'll be hearing this word more and more, mortgage-backed securities. They started these teaser loans, these interest-only, all of the modern-day method of mortgaging. Now, that's both for residential and commercial real estate. They knew when they started issuing these loans that it was going to wind up exactly where it is today. And it is estimated that the mortgage-backed securities issue is as high as $45 trillion. A professor in a university up in the Northeast gave this statistic this past week. It's mind-boggling. What they've done is they have taken your house mortgage. They've taken the residential and the commercial mortgages, and they've sliced them and they've diced them. And without having paperwork, they only had oftentimes computer entries to prove that they had the rights to be able to do this. They have sold these things to everything from pension funds to mutual funds to banks to insurance companies to France to England. They've sold them all over the world, and they've used them for bartering and trading. And it's oftentimes what you hear about as the secret instrument, so to speak, is going on today. Now, what is the end result of this going to be, folks? This is so. I mean, when I heard this, I literally was mind-boggled. Eventually, the government will have to step in and bail this industry out. There is no way that, and they want it. The end goal of this is for this crisis to become so critical. Now, you remember only about 2 weeks ago, Bank of America, Chase, a number of other lending institutions said we're not going to any longer make any foreclosures. We're not going to sell any foreclosed mortgages on houses. And then just the beginning of this week, they came back and changed altogether and said we're starting all over again. They are scared to death. The lending institutions have repossessed property. They've turned around and resold that property illegally. Now, please listen to this. If you have bought a house within the past 3 years' time that was a repossession, you probably cannot get a clear title to it, and the banks know it. And you will lose. You ought to lose that property. I don't want to frighten you, but if you bought anything repossessed from one of the lending institutions in the past 3 years, you are due to lose it. Why? Because they don't have proper title. They don't have the warranty deeds. They did not get the paperwork from the counties. And these $45 trillion worth of debt is out there floating around.
Lindsey, stay there. We're going to do 5 more minutes on this and then go directly to calls. But we're going to finish up with this key information straight ahead. We'll be right back. This is so important that we're just going to keep Lindsey for the rest of this third hour. We may even have to do a part 2 coming up tomorrow or next week. But everything Lindsey's covering from his top globalist source has either come true or partially true, and everything he's saying I can analyze from the outside, and we've been predicting for forever. And now it's here. But from the analyst I've talked to, from my own view, we know the top globalist, above even the banks, engineered this bubble to then hold the world hostage, to bankrupt all the pension funds, to steal all the retirees' money, and then hold you hostage and say, give us even more power, let us raise taxes to prop all this up or it's all going down. But you notice as you prop it up, it just continues to cascade into more crises. And in my notes here, feds will own every mortgage in America. That's the plan. The globalists make the money on the way up. Then they get the mortgages bailed out 2 years ago, again and again and again. And then it clouds all property rights law, not just here, but all over the world. And they'll say, okay, we'll fix your mortgages. But they already passed a law 2 weeks ago that Obama hadn't signed yet. He pocket vetoed it, meaning he can bring it up after the election in a few weeks. And they're saying he's going to do that to allow banks to take houses without proper title. So that's the pitch. Oh, we'll fix all this. We'll fix the banking system or it's all going down, but let us take property without any real deed, without chain of title. And then the precedent set for even more looting and stealing. Then we have the executive orders of Bush and Obama saying for any crisis, including economic, and PDD 51, the presidential decision director says the same thing, the Congress can be suspended for 6 months. The president can do anything he wants. Europe has passed similar laws. We're about to go to break, Lindsey, and then take calls, but finishing up with the mortgage issue and what he told you.
The elitists have engineered this. They know exactly what they're doing. They want a crisis to grow so big that they're basically just waiting until it can grow so large that they can say to the Federal Reserve, you've got to bail us out. Of course, they'll do it through the Treasury of the United States of America like they've done the other bailout programs of GM and Chrysler and AIG, and they'll say, there's no way. The world is going to collapse. The sky is going to fall in. And so as a result, you can expect in the future, and this is what the elite want, they want the government to step in and bail out these mortgage-backed securities, and it's going to take an original bailout somewhere between the tune of $2 and $7 trillion. That's the original bailout. It could go as far as $45 trillion if they bail out everything that's out there. Now, what's this going to bring about? Oh, this is the scary part. Whenever this happens, now, this man told me 2 years ago, and I couldn't comprehend what he was saying. He said, after 2 years, you will be so poor. And he said, again, after 2 years, nearly everyone will be working for the government. Folks, when they bail out this mortgage-backed securities issue that we've got right now, the elite will own, folks, are you getting this? The elite will own every piece of mortgaged real estate in the United States of America, both commercial and residential, and you will make your house payment to the elite because they will own it through the Federal Reserve, which they are.
And that's how they're taking houses that are they're even taking houses that are paid for because the note was sold to so many people, they're all coming to get it. And
that's right. If you have bought a house within the past 3 years that was repossessed, you probably do not own clear title to it, and they can come in and take it. You will be their slave. Oh, Alex, I don't know how to say to these people.
No, that's how it works. The government, Israel and the U.S. releases the worm, then says we got to take the web over. They create the mortgage crisis and then say we got to take over to save it, and then it only gets worse. I mean, this is what they do.
Yes, and folks, I plead with you. You've got to know the intricate details of this. I know on the Alex Jones Show, I'm giving it just very briefly. You've got to know the intricate details.
Well, stay there. We're going to come back, take calls. We got the rest of the hour. Fall of the Republic. We detail the banker takeover, the mortgage scam, their plan, the carbon taxes. It's all covered in my film, Fall of the Republic. America's Last Stand. Make the choice, liberty or tyranny. Fall of the Republic documents how an offshore corporate cartel is bankrupting the U.S. economy by design. Leaders are now declaring that world government has arrived and the dollar will be replaced with a new global currency. This has been out now 8 months. President Obama has brazenly violated Article 1, Section 9 of the U.S. Constitution by seating himself at the head of the United Nations Security Council, thus becoming the first U.S. president to chair the world body. A scientific dictatorship is in the final stages of completion, and laws protecting basic human rights are being abolished worldwide. An iron curtain of high-tech tyranny is now descending over the planet. A worldwide regime controlled by an unelected corporate elite is implementing a planetary carbon tax that will dominate all human activity and establish a system of neo-feudal slavery. The image makers have carefully packaged Obama as the world's savior. He is the Trojan horse manufactured to pacify the people just long enough for the globalists to complete their master plan. This film reveals the architecture of the New World Order. and what the power elite have in store for humanity. More importantly, it communicates how we the people can retake control of our government, turn the criminal tide, and bring the tyrants to justice. And it's got Oath Keepers, expanded bonus extras, and a lot more. This film needs to be seen by everybody. Sure, you know all about this as listeners or as PrisonPlanet.tv viewers, but your friends and family who laughed at you 5 years ago, they're not going to laugh now. As Ron Paul has said, it's so critical to expose the globalist and that they've engineered this in their own words and own documents so that people know who to blame, or the globalists will pose as our saviors. Get Fall the Republic at Infowars.com. Obama deception covers a lot of the same issues, but again, was made a year and a half ago. It's all important. Infowars.com. PrisonPlanet.tv. You can view it and download it and burn it to give it to people. Put it on Access Television, have public viewings, make copies. Please get it out. Infowars.com or 888-253-3139. Now, Lindsey, when we talked to you yesterday, I challenged you. I said, look, you've written best-selling books. You've made DVDs about what this guy told you. We don't have time for you to wait a month and do that. You need to make an audio CD going over all of this so it's concise. And you said that you're stepping up to the plate in the next few days and getting that produced, because an audio CD can be done in just a matter of days. I'm glad you're going with that idea. When this CD comes out, or any of the previous DVDs you put out that predicted all this from your sources and your main source, how do folks get a hold of that?
Please call our toll-free number right now, as quick as you can after this program. Now, don't cut off. Don't you change this dial. You stay right where you are. But after the program, please call our toll-free number, 888-799-6111. Now, there's some people that would prefer not to call an operator. And by the way, all of our operators are American operators. You won't hear any foreign operators. If you'd like to go on the web, please go to prophecyclub.com, prophecyclub.com, and 6 DVDs, 8 hours of DVD viewing, everything that the elitists have told me that will take place through 2012. Everything. Please, the toll-free number, 888-799-6111, or on the web at prophecyclub.com. We have the 6 DVDs. We have a CD that we will update almost weekly now. And with all of this new information we're giving, get all of it. I beg of you. And by the way, my DVDs and my CD are not copywritten. Did you understand what I said? They are not copywritten. That means you can copy them, give them out to your friends, get them out everywhere you can. I don't have time to be greedy. Will you please get my DVD set, 6 of them, and my CD set, which is being made today? The number 888-799-6111.
Okay, Lindsey,
we're or prophecyclub.com.
Absolutely. Now, I want to get to calls, but I've got one more question before, and after we take 30 minutes of calls or so, where they're going to get into some of the other things he told you that we haven't gotten to yet, and some more details on the other big 6 or 7 items. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 items. We haven't gotten into the religious world takeover and the fact that you may be bringing him to Christ and waking him up as he dies of cancer. But to be specific, so this may be the last info we get from this guy. It's so important, and it's really proven to be very accurate. And then we'll recap it as well. But why do you think he's telling you all this? You know, he called you up 2 years ago to threaten you and say, stop doing this to the oil companies, but then he gave you all this other data and said, go ahead and tell folks that if you want. I
gave 3 years of my life to be the chaplain to the elite of the world on the Trans-Alaska Oil Pipeline, and there were 2 of these individuals that were very friendly with me when I was there. Some of them could have cared less. They wouldn't have wiped their foot on me. There were others, 2 of them, that did. I think it's totally out of respect for who I probably am the only person of my kind that these 2 individuals have ever come in contact with in their life. You don't get to these people. You never get to know them. You never get to talk to them on the phone. And I think, Alex, out of respect for what I did in being that chaplain and keeping in touch with them these 35 years, they're giving me this information. But you've also got to consider deathbed repentance.